everybody, what's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your revolutionary astrologer, and I'm recording the first celestial wisdom of 2025. I'm not one of those people that gets too excited about the calendar year changing just because I think there's a lot of things that we should be doing throughout the year. Not one particular day marks that suddenly I wake up and I feel totally different, because I don't. But I say Happy New Year to anyone who does take that on. Congratulations. I like to take a word on for the year. Some people set intentions. Some people do New Year's resolutions. Again, not really my thing, but I am not judging anybody who does it. Like I say, I like to set a word for the year. And it's interesting because when the words come to me, I often choose the ones that I feel some resistance to. And they're not usually too intense, but you just never know. I remember the very first time that I did this. This was, 20 years ago. But it was so impactful that I decided to just keep doing it. And we have a lot to cover, so I'm not going to keep rambling about my word of the year. But what I will say is that a lot of times people are asking me, is 2025 going to be better than 24? It's relative, right? It's subjective based on where we're at in our lives. One day it could be really great. The next day it could be really shitty. I don't know. I mean, I woke up this morning in a pretty sad place, but it's finally shifted, So is that better? I don't know. But what I will offer is that I believe 25 is going to have more evolution, and it's going to happen pretty fast for a lot of people. Our science and technology world is not slowing down. We're not going to be able to stop the progress. We can maybe get in the way and feel like a speed bump, or we can learn to embrace it and see where we can integrate it and partner with what is coming. So just be prepared. Like I said, there's a lot to cover today in this video, so hang tight. Joan is going to put timestamps and stuff like that on it for you. So what I'm going to cover is that we now have Venus in Pisces. Do want to talk about that. Mercury has officially moved into Capricorn. It happened yesterday. I'm recording this on the 9th. And we have a full moon, a Cancer full moon on Monday. Mars is now retrograding back into Cancer. That happened on the 6th, which was Monday. And then next week also, we've got the nodes changing signs from Aries Libra to Pisces Virgo. And so in the nodes of the moon, they go backwards in the signs. So I do want to talk about that. But before I do, I like to do our card for the week, right? Something to meditate on and to give us just some pins on the map. And I know that some of you probably hear this, watch this, whatever, and don't think twice about it. But if you do have a moment, take time to reflect on the card, because I'm noticing in the trend and the pattern is that these cards often carry that theme, and you can look back and go, oh, yeah, that was cool, right? And it just helps to strengthen our sixth sense, that intuitive muscle that we have. So let us see what the cards have in store today. Oh, one other thing I will offer. When we're in an energy field, and this is something that I have practiced multiple times, and as we ramp up or the changes in the environment happen, things like that, energy can be influenced and affected. And so for me, I can tell that something is shifting, something's changing, and I pay close attention when things start dropping, gravity starts getting affected around me. So pay attention when things show up. I have a very dear friend and soul sister who really pays attention to nature and how nature talks to her on a regular basis and shows up. Love that. What works for you, hone it, master it, and have some practice with it. We're in the Capricorn season with the sun in Capricorn, and this is about mastery, right? When we have this earthy Capricorn energy, because Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is all about mastery. And I may have mentioned that in a previous show that I did. We were talking about Saturn. So speaking of shows, I know I will get to cards and all of that, but my radio show, I'm reinventing it just slightly. I'm going to move dates and times. It's going to be a Wednesday. It's going to be at night, so I can talk about all kinds of off topic, off color, taboo kind of stuff. I want to continue to awaken us and get us into a space where we're not being sheeple, but we're being very intentional and paying attention and watching where we place our time and energy so that we can be of benefit, you know? All right. Oh, card falling out. We've got Eight of Discs or Pentacles. That's interesting. Okay. What I find fascinating about the Eight of Pentacles or Disc in my Celtic deck, this is all about apprenticeship and mastery. And I was just talking about mastery. So keep that word. That's going to be a theme. And think about this in the light of the full moon in Cancer, right? So we have this idea of the Eight of Pentacles being all about mastery, that we're working to improve our skills, to be really good at what we do. Perfect for the beginning of the year when we're looking at our goals. Have we accomplished them? Do we need to work harder on them? Do we need to maybe go deeper with our skills? And we want to make sure that we are being diligent with things. So this isn't about just suddenly going, oh, I need to set a goal. This is, let me look at my previous goals. Let me look at the skills that I have and how can I keep practicing them? How can I keep honing them, tweaking them, learning more about them? And so the Eight of Pentacles, we may also look at taking on more education or study, just like I say, practicing. I'm starting another 7-week, it's called an intentional practice group that I do with Nine Gates Mystery School. And that starts tonight, that I'm going to be leading. And it's where we practice intentionally together for 7 weeks. And these practices I have been doing for years, but every time I do them, something new gets revealed. So think about that with the Eight of Pentacles, is that you may be going, I'm doing the same thing I do every day, maybe going to the gym or the yoga or whatever, but see what gets revealed to you in that moment. That maybe that same exercise or that same meditation or that same grounded presence or whatever it is you're practicing, see if it gets revealed in a new way to you. Come with that innocence to it. There's also this encouragement here to keep doing what we're doing because it leads to success. That's part of that idea of mastery. It requires dedication and focus and patience. And I know nobody likes that word patience because that means we have time and we have to wait and all of that. Well, guess what? We're in the Capricorn energy. Saturn ruled. And guess what? When we get into the Aquarius energy, the Saturn ruled also traditionally. So we're in this for mastery. We're in this for time, and give yourself over to letting go of how long something might take and just be in the process and just keep noticing. And also, I would say that if you haven't started engaging in some type of learning or goal setting or anything like that, this is a great time to do it. Why? Mercury is in Capricorn. When Mercury enters this practical, down to earth, needs to accomplish things sign of Capricorn, then our thoughts become much more about realism. Our communication gets clear. And we have this way of thinking and speaking and connecting that has a greater meaning to it. There's usually a usefulness to the reasons that we're speaking. You know, there's this little joke amongst the staff at Mystery School that very often we can talk on top of each other because we have all these ideas that we want to generate and we want to do something and we want to, you know, accomplish something. And one of the staff one day, she was doing that thing where she just was talking, and she stopped and she goes, "Why am I talking?" So perfect. We just started laughing and it was just a lot of fun. And it was just that moment of like, yeah, why am I talking? And with Mercury and Capricorn, we're going to be asking ourselves that a little bit more of like, I'm speaking because it makes sense and because it's going to get some things done. And I'm going to make sure that there's efficiency to what I'm saying. My words aren't going to be wasted and that there's a usefulness to them. And Capricorn, now granted, we just had Mercury retrograde, right, back in December. So our thoughts might have been a little foggy. Information may not have translated the way that we'd hoped, or we got misunderstood or whatever. So here we are with Capricorn, and Capricorn has a tendency to clear up our mind. And Mercury is direct, and so we can be more direct in our communication. The one thing that we've got to be careful of is that we are so succinct that we lose some of the emotional benefits when we communicate, right? It's like, oh, it's just the facts. It just is what it is, you know? And so what we want to do is make sure that, yes, we are efficient with the way we're speaking, and we're straightforward, which is great because we're not wasting time. But at the same time, we might lose track of how people need time to process, or they need to feel, they need to be engaged emotionally with the idea we're trying to sell, you know? The other thing that I would offer is that during the Mercury in Capricorn, the sun also in Capricorn, we do take on a more serious tone. But remember, take our practices seriously, not ourselves, right? So again, coming back to that idea of mastery and practice. As I mentioned, the nodes of the moon are moving. The nodes are important because that's where eclipses are from, right? That's how they are established in astrology. And we've had them in the Aries Libra, and that's been all about me versus you, independent versus collaborative, partnership, that sort of thing. And so we've probably done this push and pull of like, I want the relationship, but I still need to be myself, which is important. But at the same time, it's like, can I be myself and still be in the relationship? And now that the nodes are going to be shifting to the Pisces Virgo axis, we're going to have eclipses in those signs. So pay attention, mutable signs, which is your Pisces, Virgo, Sagittarius, and my apologies, it's taken me 1 second to, I know, to go through my to go through my little list here. Gemini, thank you. So those are the 4 signs that are going to be affected the most. So if you have that somewhere dominant in your chart, pay attention these next 18 months, because that's how long it takes for these nodes to transit through the signs. So with the Pisces Virgo, though, we're going to have the North Node in Pisces, the South Node in Virgo, and excuse me, I'm wrong. South Node in Pisces, North Node in Virgo. And so we're going to be working with artificial boundaries dissolving under this North Node in Pisces, right? And in the South Node in Virgo, it's challenging us to live in greater attunement with Mother Earth, with our being of service, and also, you know, really being mindful. Say goodbye to micromanagement. Be more mindful about what we do. That North Node in Pisces also is inviting us to discover new dimensions, to allow ourselves to escape now and again so that we can imagine what the world could be in a better place. And that brings in more spiritual themes, healing modalities, acts of service, things like that. And under this nodal shift, we should find more healing involved. Now, remember, we can't heal what we don't feel. And so there's going to be things that get stirred up. But I would imagine that our science and technology, our spiritual mindset can take on that intention of, I want to better the world so that it can heal. And so I'm developing this intention, or I'm developing this invention, this new progress or whatever, to be of benefit, and so that it can heal. And let's put some practical things behind it. And that's part of what we're going to be working with. And I would also say that we may find ourselves feeling a little more drawn to the spiritual side of things, of like, yeah, you know, I'm human, but I'm also I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. So what does that mean? So I would imagine that many of us are going to go into a more, a bigger, wider, deeper, if you will, mindset around the spiritual nature. So if you're in the business of, let's say, spiritual retreats or meditations or modalities, like tarot or numerology or astrology and all that, you may find yourself with a class or a group that is drawn to that and you get to teach it, or maybe you're more drawn to it and you get to learn about it and get involved. So I think it's going to be a really interesting 18 months and very, very important for us as a collective. Now, let's also talk about this Piscean energy, because we've got Venus in Pisces, Saturn's in Pisces. Saturn will shift out of Pisces this year in 25, May of 25. So we've got a little bit more time with Saturn in Pisces, but we've got a lot of Pisces energy also with Venus here, because Venus is exalted in Pisces. Venus loves being in Pisces. And Venus in Pisces loves love, it's a fairy tale romance, if you will. And romance can be so enchanting when Venus is in Pisces, because there's no boundaries and we just love to love. And there's this unconditional spiritual nature that comes into it. And so it's a wonderful time to, if you're single, to get out and mingle, to be able to see people for their true nature. The only downside, which, is a downside, is that we can be, love spelled, if you will. And they say love is blind, and we can dismiss red flags. We can dismiss some bad behaviors because we just love that person, because we know at their true nature, they really are love. And that is true. However, that doesn't mean you have to partner with them. If you are in a bonded relationship, it's a great time to draw closer, to escape through the things that you both have in common, that just brings out the best in you, to admire each other. So if the relationship has been a little rocky, come back to, what is it that I admire most about my partner, and share it with them. Give that opportunity to say, you know what, I remember why I was drawn to you to begin with. And that also can really help lift the energy of the relationship. Because believe me, we know that where attention goes, energy flows. If you're looking for something negative, I promise you'll find it, right? Same thing with the positive. There's got to be at least one thing that you really enjoy about your partner. The other thing I would say is that with Venus in Pisces, and as it starts moving closer to Saturn, we may take on relationships in a way that is more serious, simply because Saturn's involved, and that it's like, I need to partner with somebody who has that same higher mind, that same spiritual nature. That's that Piscean energy. And I want to make sure that whoever I am partnered with, that it's sort of this guilt by association, right? And this isn't just romantic. This also could be just any relationships, that I need to make sure that I'm in alignment with the things that I believe in, the things that draw out my best self. So those are some things that we may be looking at. The other thing I would say, because Venus does have to do with values, right? And money is associated with it. So the money side of Venus in Pisces, it's really a great time if you're wanting to monetize anything with the spiritual pursuit, your creativity, your imagination. So get those playwrights written, or go join that one spiritual class, or teach it, and find a way to monetize it. It's really not about doing things for the money, though. When Venus is in Pisces, it's really about doing it for the love of it. Okay. Now, if you're still with me, I'm going to talk about this Cancer full moon. It's a full moon asking that we really honor our emotional knowing, our intuition, our deepest needs, and that sacredness of our energy. And it's a full moon saying we need to create space so that we can heal, so that we can feel, and we can have this wisdom that comes through the emotional body and through the feeling body. Remember, intuition lies in the body. Give ourselves time to feel it. So this full moon is also asking that we let go and release any past hurts, any past things that have held us back from expressing our emotions, from trusting our intuition. And it allows us to be able to feel our way through that next moment, that next big decision that we have. Because it's a full moon, the sun's in Capricorn, opposing or standing across the sky from the moon in Cancer. And so it's asking us that as we look ahead, that we build our year ahead based on what brings our emotional body the best feelings. And while our feelings should not govern us, they should not be the only thing that drives us. For this particular full moon, it's important to give attention, proper attention to it. And really, maybe this is a great time if you're getting all these downloads to start releasing them in some way. Share them with others, do a video, write about it, whatever it might be. And the other piece of this is that Mars is going to be retrograde, or it is retrograde through the sign of Cancer. And it is going to be close enough of a conjunction to the moon that it's going to draw us even more inward, which is, in a full moon, we tend to be more outward. However, Cancer is a introverted or feminine sign. And so it's going to ask us that while we have the light of the moon shining and revealing certain things to us, it may be more internal. And that this may be a time, remember Mercury in Capricorn, where we start thinking more seriously about how we feel. And our decisions are made from a place that say, I'm going to let go of past. I'm going to let go of this relationship. I'm going to let go of this idea, whatever it is that has bound us from being our best selves. And if we felt like we've been unloved, or we haven't been able to express ourselves, or we're waiting to feel safe, then we can transmute that during the light of this full moon with that Mars retrograde. So, healing our own relationships with our emotions, even, creating that safety within ourselves. My daughter is a therapist, and I shout out, she is officially licensed. She is now a licensed professional counselor. I'm so excited for her. Congratulations. And she and I talk quite often about attachment styles when it comes to relationships, and having a secure attachment style can take time if you don't come from that. And most of us come from very wounded relationships, whether it's anxious or attachment or disorganized. And so it's harder to come together as a couple, or to meet somebody who's already in that secure relationship. So this is a perfect time to use this full moon to say, I am safe and secure within myself. I have a right to be here, and I want to be here. And so I'm going to allow myself to have that safety first, so that then as I connect with my partner or with this new person, that I can also create a safe space. And how do I create a safe space? Know your values and stick with them. Don't compromise them. And it's okay if that person you're attracted to, say you're single and you're attracted to somebody, and you start to find out that your values just are so misaligned, it's okay to let go, because the universe is going to bless you with somebody else. Now, the other thing with this full moon is the sun and moon are going to be dancing with Uranus. So there's this wonderful freedom that's available to us. And it comes by claiming ourselves, claiming what we want, claiming what we need. What do we desire? And then creating those boundaries around it. Saturn and Pisces can take limitless, unbounded ideas and create boundaries. And that's what we need to do. And that's how we say, this is how I'm safe in a relationship. This is how you're safe with me. Let's keep communicating those boundaries. Now, the other thing with Uranus involved, anything goes. So there might be a chance encounter. There might be a conversation that suddenly comes out of the blue. Somebody contacts you. Remember, Cancer also is considered a sign that deals with our past. It deals with our parents, our ancestors, all of that. And so there may be a couple of you that experience somebody from the past reaching back out, and you suddenly get to have this conversation that you've been longing for, or this connection, or just surprises you. It's like, wow, I haven't heard from them in years, whatever. So that's another thing to pay attention to, is that this is full moon. Honor yourselves, honor how you feel, create that safety, and be aware that when something suddenly shows up, you're still safe. That's why it's really important. And like I say, Mars is now in Cancer, also part of this full moon. And while it's retrograding, which it will be all the way through February, that through the sign of Cancer, that Mars is retrogrades a time of introspection, calling us to reevaluate our energy, our conflicts. This is a time where we can be more passive aggressive when it's in Cancer. So we have to watch that. We have to watch how we might internalize our anger and frustrations instead of verbally processing them or emotionally processing them. You know, crying, so many people have demonized it, but it really is a beautiful way of releasing emotional energy, and it helps to calm the parasympathetic nerve. It has such beautiful benefits to it, you know. So give yourself over if you have moments of just crying. Also, Mars in Cancer encourages finding comfort in really small rituals. So revisit your roots, revisit rituals that have given you that safety and security in the past. Some of you may be feeling a little disconnected right now to the spiritual things, or disconnected to your truth, or disconnected to a partner or whatever. Come back to your rituals. Come back to, you know, like I say, if it's a partner or somebody that you care about, what is it that you care so much about? And create a little ritual around that. You know, maybe it's a ritual of just sharing one thing every day that you're grateful for. Maybe it's one thing you appreciate about that person, about yourself. You know, one of the things that I do every day is I like to light some incense and say a little invocation to kind of set my day. And so maybe I'm going to revisit that as well. Family dynamics are also taking center stage when Mars is retrograding through the sign of Cancer. Think back to in September, because that's when Mars entered Cancer before it went retrograde. And there may be some themes that show up. There may be some arguments. There may be some unresolved issues from family members or friends or people that you feel you belong to at this time as well. So there are some things that we just need to keep paying attention to. And, you know, give yourself a lot of space and grace as well, because we are human, and we're in this very messy, in this together kind of boat, if you will. We're all in the boat. Let's row together. And if somebody's getting a little, I don't know, motion sick or whatever, then we help them out. We take over their oar. We hold their hair back. You know, we come together. We lean in and lift each other up. So do that for each other, but also do it for yourself. Give yourself permission to go, okay, I'm being human right now. It's really okay. All right, you guys, thanks for hanging with me. If you're still here, please come find me at one2listen and jamiedawn.com. And I look forward to working with you, as well as to continue rowing this boat. Row your boat. Yeah, I'm in this with you. All right, you guys, have a wonderful week.